Welcome to the Raw and Real podcast, a space for honest conversations about life in all its messy, beautiful complexity. Here we go deep, exploring the vulnerable, the meaningful, and the moments that truly shape who we are. Nothing's off limits. These are unfiltered conversations about life where we're not afraid of talking about the hard stuff. No masks, no filters, we're just real people with real stories. Let's get into it.
Well, welcome back to the Conversations with Julie and Sonia. I'm Sonia and this is Julie, my co-host. And today our conversation is quite a relevant one for my life at the moment. And that conversation is, how do we be the parent we want to be and turn up as the parent we want to be when your world is falling apart? And that sounds a bit like an over-dramatization, so maybe it is. But we're talking about being the parent that we want to be and turning up for our kids when things are going bad in our lives, when things, when we're in overwhelm, when things are happening in our world that perhaps aren't directly related to our kids, maybe they are, but that take a lot of our energy away. So we're going to be talking about that and exploring how we can do that as we go through this conversation. So Julie, I don't know if you have any experience, as I'm sure you do. We all do, right?
I am human.
It's when can you recall any times in your life when
Yeah, I can recall numerous times when my world I felt was literally crumbling around me. And everybody's human, so everyone experiences it, maybe to different levels, to different degrees. It doesn't matter where you are, but it to you in that moment, you feel like I can't do this. So I'm flat out getting out of bed. How am I going to parent these kids? I don't feel like it. There's times when my marriage hasn't been perfect, and my energy is going towards that. There's times when there's been financial pressure, so my energy is going to that, and it has a direct effect on the children and how we parent and how we connect with them. And I know that, for example, with that financial pressure, one of the kids come home and maybe they kick the crap out of their school shoes, or, oh my God, I paid such good money for that. And it wasn't even, and it was my internal dialogue of what was going on in my world. And so when I'm in that, I know that I'm disconnected. I'm not focused on the kids. I'm just in such overwhelm. I constantly criticize them or pick on stuff for no reason other than I'm struggling, and it's hard, and it happens, and because we're human, and sometimes everything just comes at you at once, and it's just like, so that's what I do. I criticize. I know I just take it. I used to take it out on them. I would be angry. I'd be like, what do you think I am? Why do ask your father? Why do I have to do everything? Why do I have to take on this mental load of everybody's crap? Yeah, so that's another time when I felt like my world was crumbling. And it was just like I look at it and just go, I wasn't the nicest mum, but I was coping at the best I could. And that's all you can do when you're coming from that dysfunction of overwhelm and criticizing and that internal dialogue.
I think financial pressures. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I just look back and cringe and go,
oh. I think financial pressures are a big one. I can look back as well. It's similar sorts of things, and that whole thing about the pressure of I don't have enough money, and the stories that we bring to that as well.
Yeah.
And they're real pressures as well at times. Absolutely. And when your kid comes in and they've broken something, been careless, the first instinct I know for me was, it's like I put that the sort of pressure where all of that financial pressure then lands on them in a way. you know, it's so much of it just goes onto just letting it all out and giving it to them. And I think that's, you can see now as my kids have gotten older, because I did do that a lot as they were growing up. And as they're getting older, their stories about money have become, you know, they've taken on those stories about money, that they have to be really careful with money, and they're afraid to spend and things that are important. See, my son walks around with holes in his pants, and it's like, oh, you've got to tell me about this, or your shoes are breaking apart. And I know that behind it all is that little thing about money, and how they were raised being worried about money because of the pressure that we felt. So that it has an impact, and I've seen that impact now unfold. But at the time, the best we could do, you know, I knew no better.
And with the financial pressure, for me, what I felt like was a failure. I couldn't give my kids what they wanted. I couldn't buy them what they wanted at that time. So that was this belief I was just not good enough.
Not good enough. Yeah. It's a big one, that I'm not good enough, and look, and I can't provide for you. I'm not the parent I want to be. I'm not good enough. And all of that plays out. And then as you're speaking to them, rather than speaking from the heart, we're speaking from that place. I'm not good enough. And the conversation comes out, not necessarily like that, but the deflection of blame then goes on to them.
Absolutely.
That way.
No, and because you've got this, I'm not good enough, and they come and I've got this belief that I'm not good enough, I can't provide for my kids, and then they come in and say something, can I have this? And I say no, so that just reinforces this belief that I'm not good enough, and it just escalates into, and all the stories like money doesn't grow in trees and blah blah blah, and they've carried that with them from what we've projected onto them, so they're just seeing our story, and unconsciously they're taking that on.
Yeah. Financial pressure is a big one.
Yeah, money's huge. It's a huge topic, and most partnerships or families experience it sometime in their life. So that financial pressures was one of the biggest challenges, and where I realized how wrong I was going as a parent. Not the fact that I thought I wasn't providing, but my reactions and my interactions with the kids.
Well, it's really hard not to carry that stress about money and the worry about money into everything that you do, right? And including your conversations with your kids and how you interact with your kids. And so it's because it's always on our mind at that time, right? It's in every action that we take, when we do our shopping, when we anything that we're doing, we go out for dinner, if you can even afford that, or which is the cheapest thing. You've got to get the cheapest thing on.
The child menu. Please pick the child menu. I know it's a really tricky one to navigate, and I can personally relate to it. There is ways around it. How would you say, for people that are listening in our audience, or take away so you're under a lot of emotional strain, you just physically don't feel like getting out of bed. Everybody's taking a part of you. Everyone wants a bit of you, and you just feel so flat. Have you experienced that? It's just, can you just leave me alone? I can't take anybody wanting any more energy from me. So have you experienced that? I know I certainly have.
Yeah, I have. I think it's common, particularly with women. I think I have gone through bouts of depression on and off, which has led to that. And when I had breast cancer a while back, and that time was likewise. It's just, there were days when I just did not want to get out of bed, and just could not deal with anything, let alone small children. So even now, going through this separation, there's definitely been times when I just want to curl up and cry and not see anyone, and just put the blankets over my head. And turning up at those points is really challenging. It's wanting to be, they need us. The kids, it's not like the kids need you less at those times. I often find that they come to me more. It's like my kids, I sense some pull away. One of them tends to pull away, but the other two tend to sense how I'm feeling, and they latch on more. Like I'm supposing that it's out of concern or worry about what's happening, and maybe they don't have the language or the ability to necessarily sense she needs space. It's more my mum needs more, and they can get quite needy actually in terms of it's just the response is neediness more than, it's like the concern triggers that. So yeah. I find that they need more attention. They need more from me at those times. It's just tough. I just don't feel like turning up. Don't feel like I want to be there for them, but I'm exhausted. Just really exhausted.
It's like they're attaching. They can sense that mum's not quite right. And in their world, they need mum to be right. So how am I going to get mum right? And they can react in so many ways. So one pushes away, the other two attach, probably thinking needs this. They might be coming from a place of their world's not quite right. So how do I get mum to give me the attention that she normally gives them? So so you've been through a lot. Breast cancer, you're going through a separation for our audience. That is a lot. And so how did you, like, when those moments of breast cancer is huge and you're exhausted and it's like, I don't even have the energy for myself now. And you're in your stage of you're just trying to heal and get yourself better. How did you react when they wanted more of you? Were you reactive? Were you disconnected because you were so exhausted? How did you show up in that dysfunction of, oh my gosh, just leave me the hell alone?
I don't know. I can't say that I did that all the time, but there were definitely times where I was just reactive. Definitely times where I cannot take one more little thing. And that they just needed to say one thing that triggered me, and it was just a huge meltdown. Not so much with the breast cancer. I don't even think I had energy just then, but more so at other times when I was going through that depression. It's just too much to deal with, and anything extra just and I would have a literal meltdown and yell and scream and get angry, and it's very reactionary behavior, and it definitely came from a place of overwhelm. So it's that I don't have the capacity, maybe is the belief that's underlying that. Don't have the capacity to deal with all of this, so I'm just letting it out, and it's all unconscious, right? We're not really realizing that at the time. If I had have realized that at the time, I probably would have behaved very differently, but that was all coming from that place of, I don't have enough energy for any of you. I don't have the capacity. I'm done. And as soon as just the smallest thing could trigger a reaction of adult meltdown. Is it adult meltdown? I don't know. Or childlike, but yeah, in an adult body. Just things like the smallest things.
My children label it, you were throwing a hissy fit, Mum.
That's very kind. If I think mine were far beyond hissy fits, really. It was like crazy woman stampeding through the home. But yeah.
I had a really bad habit of slamming doors. I remember I nearly slammed the microwave. My kids still remind me of this. I was so cranky. It must have just been a build up, and the microwave door was open. I just slammed that shut. I nearly slammed it off its hinges, I think. And I think we can all relate. Sometimes we physically need that. Oh, just when you said that you're reactive, I know as well that with that capacity, I just don't have the capacity to do this. I would withdraw as well. To the fact where I just didn't care. You always care, and the love's there, but it was just got to that point. I was like, oh, just do what you want. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care. Just have the bloody iPad, do whatever you want, go over to your friends. I don't care.
Wow.
And I've said that to them. And so it's just another, even though it's you're withdrawing, it's still another reaction. It's like,
Yeah. That's hopelessness coming from that place of I just cannot even, I don't even have the energy to do anything with you right now. Yeah. Do you want
exactly.
to share more of play times where you've been in that state?
I'm just trying to think I've talked about the financial side of things and the pressure of having your own business.
Mm.
So there's that financial state, but when I was just let me a sec to think of there was a time where I was physically tired, not only mentally, but really physically tired. And a perfect example of that is when I was pregnant with my third and my husband was working away physically. I was like, and I had really bad morning sickness and I didn't want to get out of bed, but I had to. I just got one foot out after the other. I used to ring my husband crying, "Can you come home? I can't do this."
Mm.
Because I had to be superwoman. I didn't want to allow anyone in to look like I was weak and useless and I couldn't deal with my two kids because I could hear my family, particularly my mother. Just going to be honest. And it's just stuff that I perceived. She probably didn't even think that, but I felt like I was weak because I needed help. So uh, dysfunctionally,
Mm.
wouldn't allow help in. And it was what I needed at the time, but I couldn't be seen as I'm getting help. I would ring my husband, but he was no help because why would I just think I look back now, it's why would I ring him? He was 3 or 4 hours away working, so I could be home with the kids. And I used to be angry at him for that. I was so resentful. So there's another level of emotional fatigue of right, you're out there, you go to work, you're coming home and having your meals cooked, your clothes are washed, blah, blah, blah. I'm at home doing all your book work and doing the kids. And so there was a time where it's just like, I can't do this. So I was physically and mentally exhausted. And I think that's just when I went into autopilot. So I would just, that's how I was. I was so red routinal, had to be, the house had to be clean. That was my way of coping. And I wasn't connecting with the kids. So I pushed away stuff that I couldn't control, like the kids' behaviors at the time. And I just went into the world of, well, I can keep my house clean. I can do this, I can do that. So I look back at that and that's another way that I coped because I've got a clean house. So I must be doing really well. Meanwhile, internally, my house was spotless, but internally I was a mess. It was just like, oh my goodness, I felt like I felt like it was too much. It was too hard. So that's one way I dysfunctionally, when I was so overwhelmed, physically and mentally exhausted. I look at that and cleaning the house is taking more energy. It's
It's
draining
crazy, isn't it?
little kids and a big one and a big belly and I'm scrubbing a shower and I can hardly lift my hand to do it. But if my shower's clean, then I've got everything together.
It's
So
funny how we do that, isn't it? We drive ourselves to complete exhaustion when just sitting at that time, just sitting, just sitting would have been more than enough.
sitting
But
there reading the kids' book.
yeah, 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 I can totally resonate with that. That just doing more rather than less in those states of overwhelm and stress and fatigue.
It just does not make sense.
It's still a pattern that I fall into now, even. And I just notice myself, I'm like, wait a minute, you're tired, stop. Because it's like ingrained of just, you just energize a bunny, keep going, don't stop.
Because we have beliefs running about how we should be a parent and how we should show up. And to me, being a parent, a mother that was a stay-at-home mum, even though I was doing other stuff, bookwork and that, to me, in my mind, a stay-at-home mum had to have meals on the table. The kids had to be clean. They had to be fed 3 times a day. The house had to be spotless and everything that. So it was just all these conditions and beliefs
Mm.
that I was putting upon myself, which just created so much more pressure. And we laughed, cleaning while you're exhausted. So you're just on that hamster wheel, aren't you? Because you don't,
Correct.
in the moment, it's just like, okay, I've got to do something make me feel better. And everybody's different. Some people might have drank, some might play pokies, whatever.
Mm.
Some women I know over exercised extensively.
Society. It's like doing dysfunctional things, acting dysfunctionally to compensate for.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned your mother before, and I can resonate. I've never seen my mum growing up just sitting and resting and just relaxing, having a relaxing afternoon. It was just and it's obviously because she knew no better or no different, and that was how she was brought up, because I know my grandma was like that as well. So just having that patterning just from generation to generation to generation, that idea that we just can't rest. I know that's a common thing in a lot of women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you rest, to me, you're weak.
Yes. Busyness, being busy is a badge of honor. I'm busy.
A few of those badges.
Yeah. I bet you I've got more.
Well, we'll see. I know. And what was I going to go? There is that generational beliefs that we bring on ourselves, which is another topic we could really go into.
We definitely could dive into that. That's
Which
a big.
it is an important topic because of the stuff that we're bringing from generational parenting plays a
Yeah.
major part in it. So that's a good topic for another day.
So we've talked about the dysfunctional.
Yeah.
We've dived deep into that. We both know it so well.
It's so easy to talk about it, isn't it? Because it just back before I'd done this work, it was just how I was always parenting from a dysfunction.
Yeah. Well, that's all. Like, I agree. I was the same. It's just I knew no different. That was just normal. That was normal life. And I think that's why we're having these conversations, right? To really shine a light on there is another way. That doesn't have to be so hard.
Yes.
So let's dive into the functional way of dealing with when your life falls apart.
This one is a tricky thing because when you're in it, it is really hard to get out of it. So it's to parent functionally when your world is crumbling apart is tricky, and I'm the first one to admit it. But what would you say is the biggest takeaway now that you look back on, or you're in it doing this work, talking
And
about?
I'm going to say I am human, and I'm not doing this 100% of the time, even now. But for me, one of the big things is presence. And in those moments of overwhelm, in those moments where everything feels too much, just being present, because that's all I can do. I have no energy for nothing else but just to be there and present with what I feel and honoring that. And so we talked about housework that just goes to the wayside. It just doesn't get done. And it does eventually, but what's more important, I know now what's more important is me honoring I need to just lie down. I need to close my eyes for a bit, whatever that is. And in terms of parenting, I find that in those moments where the kids are coming to me and I'm in that state of I just could not bear another second of dealing with anything. I just want to, it happens a lot actually at the moment. I get to 8:30 at night and I just want to go to bed. I'm just so exhausted. And it feels like that's the time that they come out of the woodworks, those kids. It's like, oh, you want to have a deep and meaningful conversation now? But bless their souls. I turn up for that. I just go, I'm here and I'm turning up and I'm here with all of my presence is here to listen and be with you with this now. And I just resign to that's what I need to do.
Yeah. And often in those moments, they only want 10 or 15 minutes of your time. They
Yeah.
don't really, I don't know, and every child is different, but they just want to be heard. And in my case, now that I'm in the teenage stage, they don't want our advice.
No, they don't want our
Because
advice.
what the heck would we know? Absolutely.
Clearly nothing.
What would you know, Mum? Oh, nothing. You've just been around the world a couple of times, but it's all good. Yeah, so just being present in that moment, that would be, and that's tricky because when you're exhausted and tired and you're still racing from the day and you actually haven't had your downtime and you
Mm.
need to switch. And this is why, and we will keep reiterating this. This is why you need to fill your cup so
Yeah.
you can be there for them.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say next is like, in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to fill your cup. And they're the most important times where everything else gets put aside and you need to be able to do things that fill your cup daily, every single day, turning up for yourself, whatever that is. It's like turning up to this conversation. This conversation is important to me. It fills my cup. And so I'm here, even
Yeah,
though you've heard about my shitty day. Just I'm here. And so I think that's anything that fills your cup, whether it's, like I said, just having a lie down, just sitting in the sunshine, whatever it is.
it's taking that time out and just realigning and having that energy for when you need to parent. And it's I think it's trickier when the kids are little, when they physically got to bath the kids and you've got to feed them and in that real time where they really are dependent on you. That's when I found it the hardest, the biggest struggle. So not to go back into that dysfunction, but now for anyone that's watching, newsflash, I haven't mopped my floor for 3 months. Oh, I was going to say 3 months.
Oh, that's good. I was going to say yes.
I wish I could get to that. No, it was 3 weeks. Once upon a time, that would never happen.
Yeah.
And we're all still thriving, and I haven't mopped my floors. My windows are dirty. Whoop-de bloody doo-dah. If you are one of those parents in that time when with the younger kids, let your housework go. It doesn't matter. And as we know, with little kids, the next day the house is going to be to that point. And
Exactly.
just don't have to be, you don't have to impress anybody else but yourself. Just be who you are. There's other mums that would let the housework go, and I wish I could have been one of them.
Yeah.
But everyone's different, so they would have dysfunctionally done something in another way. So being present and filling your cup are the two most important things I could say that I've changed, and letting go of this need to have a polished, perfect look on the outside for people looking in.
Yeah.
Let that go.
I think it's actually really important to do an assessment of what can I let go of in my life right now that's not crucial, that's
Yep.
not in a time when everything's falling apart. What's important, really hold that close, and everything else can be put aside. Do the kids need to have a bath every single day? Probably not. Like they really don't. Even if it's not even every second day, they will survive. I think there's things that we sort of hold as a way things should be, that story of I'm supposed to be doing this, the ideas of what we need to be having for dinners, and we have stories and beliefs around all of those things that at times like this it is okay, and anytime times like in particular when you are in that state of overwhelm for whatever reason, that it's okay to let things go. It's okay to not have everything perfect. And actually, that's okay all of the time. And so it's a time for reassessment, I think, of where you're putting all that energy.
And it's like waking up in the morning and go, setting realistic targets. What can I do today? Why I feel like this? Just because it'll for every situation is a phase. So you will get through it. And you've done it before, we've done it before. So you will get through it. And so just in that time, be kind to yourself. What can I do today that there's some things that have to just get done? How just do the essentials, but be kind to yourself. And Sit down and play with the little ones. Just have fun and just really connecting to what you love is
Mm.
a big one for me. How do I get through when I'm in turmoil? It's just like, what do I love? And it's not even to do with parenting. It is to do with parenting because there's that wave that comes with it. But it's just what would I love to do today? That's
And
going
doing
to
more of it.
do more of that. And
Yeah.
you watch the where your energy goes, energy flows. So if you're in your heart, that's going to ripple down to your kids, and
100%.
and you're going to be more present, and you're not going to worry about the things that aren't important. For me, it was housework. For whatever it is for anybody else, that can wait.
Yeah.
And just really connecting, so just
Mm.
letting go and connecting,
Mm.
and being kind. Be kind to yourself.
Being kind to yourself, big one. And I just want to highlight one thing that you said in there that was so beautiful and important that just got lost in there maybe. And
Yeah.
it's like that where it's phases. It's just a phase in your life. Our life is made up of these different phases. And when you stand back and look at it from a different perspective, you can see it's just a phase. It's just a
Yep.
phase. It's all going to pass, and changes come and go, and phases will come and go. And this pocket of time when everything feels like it's all too much will pass.
And on from that, realizing and looking back and going, wow, I did get through that. My kids are thriving, they're happy, they're healthy. They've learnt in our dysfunction, we think that we're bringing them financially all this internal dialogue that they're taking on. And part of it is, but there's parts of it when it's really taught my kids how to be responsible with money, which is a really important tool to have. So they'll look at it and think, well, do I need that? Not everyone. The youngest one is just, she's young. She could just get money in and out that door. So you don't beat yourself up because in every situation there's a polar opposite. So you're thinking it's bad, but there's things that's really good that are coming out of it that you don't even know about. And I look at it now and think I have to, in that situation, my kids have learnt how to be responsible with money, or some of them. So acknowledging how far you've come, and
Yeah.
even if you are in the younger stages of little ones, just acknowledge on a daily basis, wow, I've got through the day. My kids are alive, they're fed, they're in bed, they're loved. What more
Yeah.
could they want at that stage in their life? That's all they need. Just
I think
acknowledge.
I know we're probably heading to the end of our conversation, but one thing that you just keep doing it to me, just like prompting. It's a perception of what's actually happening as well. That's a really big thing that I have noticed myself, is that it can feel like everything's falling apart. It can really feel like it. And then there's another, with a shift of how you see that situation, it's pretty shitty. It's all, but it's okay. There's lots of other things that are okay. I think I've noticed in myself, at least, that I can get caught up in this, the whole world is falling apart. And I guess that's why we call this conversation when your world falls apart, because it can feel like that, but it's not necessarily the truth of it. It's your perception that the world is falling apart. And you definitely, some things are falling apart, or that some things are really bad. And can we see the light inside of that? Because there's always light. There's always
Yeah.
magic around us, and finding that part, finding those magical moments, the joy, the blessings that are hidden in the darkness.
Yeah. And focus on them.
Mm.
Put your energy towards what you love and what you would love for your children on that day. And if it's a daily basis, that's okay. If every day you have to realign and keep going, you will get out of it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great conversation.
Yes. And a needed conversation.
Really important.
Very needed conversation. And we can go into depths in so many areas, but that's just a broad overview of how to just do things when your world is crumbling around you.
Mm. Thanks so much, Julie. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Looking forward
Thank
to seeing you next time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.